Hello and welcome to the Pikeville City Manager's Report. I'm your host, Jill Fraley, along with Pikeville City Manager Donovan Blackburn. As always, certainly could not do a show without you being here. So,
Well, I
welcome.
appreciate that.
Since it is your show.
Well, I appreciate that. Thanks, Jill.
I always feel kind of funny when I say that, and I think, well, obviously, you're going to be here, and we're going to discuss many things going on in and around Pikeville today, as we do always.
Well, to make it successful, then you have to be here.
Well, somebody has to talk to you. That's one of those
and
things.
you drew the short straw.
Apparently. No, just teasing. We have a lot to get to today, as we do always. We talk about various things, lots of topics going on in and around our area in the city of Pikeville. There's always, I look at our list of things to discuss, and I wonder if we're ever going to get through all of them, because it seems like every week there's something new, something innovative going on in our area that we really want to let the public know about.
Well, it's amazing, and I've always said that success breeds success and more success, and that's where we're at right now. Is that the city continues to grow. There's always challenges, as you know, but there's a lot of wonderful things that are happening. Some of the same things just are being redefined a little bit and growing into something different, maybe. But it is. I keep saying this show after show after show. It's an exciting time to be a citizen of Pike County in the city of Pikeville.
It certainly is. And like I said, every week I'm so excited to come and see what new things we're going to talk about, because, we do discuss things throughout the different periods that we have that we're not here. But it seems like there's always something new and exciting going on. So let's get right to it. One of the things that we've talked about in past shows that is developing is the horse trail that's going to be in the city limits. And it's, sometimes you think, really, a horse trail inside the city? You think that would be more of an outlying area type thing, but it's not. It's right here.
Absolutely. First, the Mayor Justice, Frankie, is a horse enthusiast. He owns a farm. And
he's a veterinarian.
He's a veterinarian.
Many people don't know that.
No, he's a master of a lot of different traits. And as a veterinarian, he and his family have a farm right outside of Lexington. But he's a big horse enthusiast and loves animals, obviously, as well as the commission in general. But one of the visions with all the growth at Bob Amos Park was to create a small horse trail there. There is a misnomer that we have talked about in the past that there is no that animals of like horses are not permitted within the city limits, and that's not the fact. There actually are several horses in the city limits at different places throughout the city. Now, obviously, there is some guidelines. They're not having a horse pinned up on Main Street, but there are barns, small barns, and folks within the city that have horses, and we're excited about that. And we wanted to create an opportunity for again, more folks to come to the city and enjoy not only the great hospitality and things that we have, amenities we have to offer, but also a trail system to where they could ride and benefit from. So we applied with an initiative from the First Lady of Kentucky. Jane Brashear was looking at different horse trails and how they could bring these trails throughout the state, not just to central Kentucky. And we applied for a grant, and we were honored to be awarded two different grants, actually. We had one grant that was about $65,000 with $60,000 with a $60,000 match, so that's $120,000 total grant. And then there's a second grant for $100,000 with a $100,000 match. So again, we've got about a $320,000 project that will start. The commission, during the last commission meeting, approved the contract between the city and the Department of Local Government. So we're moving forward. The contract's been signed. Soon we have hired Summit Engineering, the city's engineers. They are currently in the process of putting the design and the together. People would be interested, I guess, is the reveal of where the trail will be. So if you go up Bob Amos Park and you go to where shelter, I think we listed as shelter 4. It is as you're going up the overlook and where the water tank is, you'll pass the water tank. It is a shelter immediately to your left before you get to the overlook. The overlook, there's 2 shelters on the top, but on the way up to the top, there's a shelter that sits to the left. That area there, that shelter will come down, and there'll actually be a full barn with stalls that would be built there. And then the what most folks know as the old Smoky Blankenship Trail, which has been closed off for some time for different reasons. That will be opened up, and the trail will start there. You'll cross over the road where the barn is, which is straight across from where we're talking about. and it will follow the ridge line. There's an old the Smoky Blankenship Trail, and there's some old coal haul trails there that it will link to, and it will follow all the way through and then come in over onto the Island Creek side, which again, if folks are familiar with where UMG's office is, it's right in behind that. The city owns that hollow there, which actually is the backside of Bob Amos Park. So the trail system will wrap over the top of the hill, come down the other side of the hill. The hope is that there'll be some primitive campsites for those that ride horses. So if you want an overnight event, we'll be able to arrange that as well.
That's a pretty good distance, though. A pretty long trail, actually.
It probably, and I can't remember, I think the initial phase is about 12 miles. And which is, again, within the city limits, it's a pretty good sized trail, especially the type of terrain, because it's going to be, it's not going to be a flat terrain. There's going to be some hills and slopes to it, which makes, again, the novice riders, it gives them a challenge. But more for the, again, those that have horses for a while. And the intent is to hopefully evolve into maybe some horse rentals and that nature at some point. But right now the intent is to give folks within the area the opportunity of bringing their trailer, dropping it off, housing, a place to house their horse for a day or two, and then to ride the trail.
Well, I also think, though, that along with our river trail system that we have now, a lot of outdoor enthusiasts also are horse enthusiasts as well, so they can come, and we talk about our staycations that we've talked so long about in our area. That's one more thing that they can do, is to bring their horses or campers or whatever they have and stay in the area, and it's all right there in one location.
Well, it's a great point, and that was, again, the vision of the commission 5 years ago when we first started looking at the amenities that we had and what we could do to enhance the not only the quality of life, but giving folks within our own area something to do. It's evolved into much more than that now, as you know, Jill, with the Hatfield and McCoy trails and a lot of the other things that are going on. But if you look at, we have the 5.5 mile walking trail that we developed. That was a $150,000 project a few years back. So we've got the walk trail. We've got obviously the new RV park. We've got the special needs park. We've got the bike trail. We've got the soccer field. We've got the new basketball courts that were installed. We've got the cut-through adventures, which now is the Hatfield and McCoy River Trails. The Y has expanded their property. We have an agreement with them with the RV park, where somebody comes and stays at the RV park to get special pricing. We've got now the horse trails, and then with all the shelters that have been added, there has been several $1 million that has been invested in the park system up there, creating different opportunities for, the original intent was for the local quality of life, but as I said, it has evolved into the staycations, and we've got people coming from all over now. And then the implementation, as I said, of not just the river trail system and being named a Kentucky Blue Water Trail, but now with the Hatfield and McCoy riding trails and the the bus trail, and then of course the CD with the riding trail, the self-guided riding trail. There is just so much more to do above and beyond that. And now we're creating, which we'll talk about here in a second, some additional partnerships with the Hatfield and McCoy things that are going on with our local hotels and restaurants, and we've created these package deals that we have been talking about for some time. So we just rolled those out for the first time last week. So again, we're working with the Breaks Center State Park. We're working with Jenny Wiley in trying to create, again, a total regional package so that we can pull people here and they'll have a total weekend stay with a lot of things they can visit and see and do. But more important, they get to share our hospitality and we get a benefit from it economically.
Absolutely. The Scholar House is something that we haven't talked a whole lot about, but we're going to talk about that today.
Yeah, I'll take a little bit of time to explain it. I've explained it in general in some shows in the past, but this is finally coming to fruition. The board met for the first time. Let me restate that. The official board met for the first time this week. And what the Scholar House is, and before I get into that, there was a committee that was set up prior to the Scholar House looking at what interests that we would have pursuing this project. That committee, which was made up of city and county, both coming together and working for the common good of the people of Pike County and City of Pikeville. And again, there was a lot of due diligence that went to get us to the point to where we are today, but it is finally a reality. And to start out, what the Scholar House this is a concept that originated with the University of Louisville. And what it is it's government housing, Section 8 type housing that's specifically designed to house students for the college, both the technical college and the university. Will be able to apply for this housing. There'll be 48 units that will be constructed. Construction will hopefully start late this fall, within a couple of months. There was an application through Kentucky Housing Corp that was approved, and the money has now been set aside. The city and the county again worked with a developer that did the original Scholar House in Louisville, a gentleman by the name of Jake Brown. They have built several of these housing or these projects in Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky, and we're going to be one of the first small rural type communities, markets with a university of our size, to have a facility such as this. Governor Patton, obviously the president of the UPike, had visited U of L and saw the house and had some interest in it, and came back and asked the city and the county if we would be willing to partner to try to bring this project to life. So we've done that. We have, and recently the county was received an award through the National County Association for this project of, again, both the city and the county and working together in creating. So what, again, this project is there are good kids, and I want to make that very clear, good kids in our school systems, in our high school systems, that have made bad decisions. And one of those decisions that sometimes they make is they end up getting pregnant and having a child while they're still in school, and becoming a single parent. Well, these are kids, a lot of these kids have high grade point averages that are again, good kids, but they've made a mistake or an error in judgment. And what statistics shows is that those kids then no longer pursue their educational career, I guess, in order to pursue and getting a degree. And again, as statistics show, that as people evolve based upon their income, about young entrepreneurs, that in order to elevate their salary and to benefit the community, they need a higher education. It's not like it was back in the 70s and 80s. Today, most jobs demand, especially in management, a higher wage demand a higher education. So again, what this does is, and in most cases, again, statistically, a lot of these young kids that have kids that are unmarried, then they apply for government subsidies. So now, through a big part of their life, until they can get established, they're pulling off of different assistance programs for their child and for themselves. So what this program does is if somebody meets their grade point average, and it pairs them with the technical college or the university or both in working with them for a scholarship opportunity. And then as part of it is the Scholar House then offers them housing and daycare for them to complete their education. So for, again, a full 4-year ride, they would have housing. There will be there's a deal being structured now with the YMCA to oversee the daycare center, so they will be a daycare center as part of the housing complex. So your child basically never has to leave. They're there while you're in school on the campus. Your child is on the campus and being looked at by professional child providers. So it allows that student, as long as they maintain their grade point average, there's a lot of strict rules and guidelines that they have to follow within their time frame of whether it's a 2-year degree or a 4-year degree. After they receive their degree, then they're given I think it's up to 6 months to transition then into the community. So now what you've done is you've taken that same person that has just made it an error in judgment, that has a child, and you've given them an opportunity. You're basically teaching them to fish instead of just feeding them a fish. So you're making them a productive entrepreneur of our community. You're giving them an opportunity to further their education, to set them up for the rest of their life, and you're giving, again, the university or the technical college a student. So it's a great program. The City Commission has, along with the county, and I'm talking about the City Commission because there's a different side of this, not only have they supported, as the county has supported this project, but the city owns a piece of property that's located across from Hardee's. Over the past several months, we have been negotiating with the developer on the sale of that property. And ironically, that used to be some very blighted housing area. So the city was able to go in and acquire the housing. The Kentucky Avenue project was was done when I came on board in 2004. And then we bought out some additional structures that were decided to finish cleaning the area up. So this complex will be built on that site. The city agreed to sell it below fair market value because it is a government housing. It does benefit the university. So there's been negotiations has been going on for the past several months to do that. So they have embraced this project, they've supported this project, and they have now, we will be closing on the property within the next 2 weeks with the Scholar House. A nonprofit board has been set up. The mayor appoints 6 members to that board. I'm on that board with several other folks. The county judge also makes 6 appointments, and of course the county judge, Rutherford, believes in this project. Both he and I have been to U of L and have visited the project and have met with some of the students whose life that this has impacted. So we have both the mayor and the judge have appointed 6 members to this board, and then the university gets 1 appointment to the board, which is James Hurley, the president-elect to the university. So it's a great project. It will truly benefit a lot of the youth in the area, and you hate to say, I mean, I don't mean that, and I hope nobody takes that offensively when I say a lot of youth, but the facts are that there are youths out there that are single parents. It happens, unfortunately. At times it happens, but and I'll give you a little statistic within the confined or within the area that the University of Pikeville services. There is a county that is the #1 county of the 120 counties for teen pregnancies is within the service area of U-Pike. Pike County has one of the top 10 schools in the state for teen pregnancies. So it has happened. It does happen. And what we feel our responsibility is to understand it, to prepare, and the school systems are doing a wonderful job to teach the kids what happens during these situations. And then government stepped in to give them an opportunity to continue their education, to become a productive member of society on a higher level. So we're excited about the project. It's a great project, and it's the money, as I said, the money is there. The preliminary design has been drawn. The full design will be released within the next 30 days, and then construction, it will go out to bid, and construction will start soon thereafter.
So are we talking probably about a year and a half?
Yes, by the time that it's open, yes. Okay. Yeah, and it'll be, and again, if you get the chance to go to Louisville, and a lot of these things, Jill, as I go through life and in this position, I get the great opportunity of seeing different facets of government, how government works, whether it's D.C. or things that are going on in New York government, large cities, but having the opportunity to visit things like the Shriners Hospital and how they benefit. And we talked about the Hillbilly Christmas in July event, but why we do that event is because we took the time to visit that facility and see what it touches. But if folks have the opportunity to be in Louisville and see this facility, and it's somewhat hidden, but I had the opportunity going in, and I spoke to a young girl who had a 9-month-old child who's in a nursing program, and she talked about how rough her life had been, and the decisions that she made, and what this program has done for her. And I sat there and almost welled up. I spent about an hour with her, just sitting in this little apartment. It's her and her child, and let her tell me her story, and she walked through the apartment with pride, saying, this is mine and this is mine, and it was just a blessing, a true blessing that I got from her, and it made me come back and understand what this program was about and why we wanted to work hard to make this program happen. So, the city and the county again is in a great partnership and pursuing this great program, and I think the community will be very excited once they see what it does.
I believe you're right. Now, one thing I want us to touch on this week that we talk about every time that we're here is the commercial air service resolution next Tuesday. Will be the 7th day of August.
Yes, it will be. Again, on August the 7th is the fiscal court's next meeting. We've had a lot of discussion with several of the magistrates. I've talked to the county judge numerous times, and I want to again reiterate, the county judge specifically is desperately for commercial air service. He's been a big advocate, very supportive, but the question came up on the $1 million that we're requesting to the governor's office. And as I have said for the past several months, that I expect the fiscal court to do their due diligence in asking how this money is going to be spent, when it's going to be spent, etc. But I think over the past, especially the past month, All the partners that's been at the table has done a great job explaining the position. There's been a tremendous outpour by the community. There's been a lot of press coverage on it. And I think that the county now understands what we're asking for, why we're asking for it, and how it benefits. One of the biggest misnomers out there, Jill, and every chance I get the opportunity in front of the camera to say this, I do, is that this money is multi-county money. And if we don't use it here, it's going to go to another part of the state that we're going to be competing against. Now, I'll also say that this is multi-county money. This cannot be utilized for water lines, sewer lines, things that are that's what single county coal severance are for. This money is used for regional projects that touches multiple counties. And I certainly understand the argument from the county and the citizens' perspective of concern of saying, why can't we have that money to utilize it for this project or that project? And the fact of the matter is as the laws are written, it's not eligible for those projects. So this is a regional project. There is a tremendous amount of folks that use commercial air service. Again, 121,000 flights out of just the 13 county area that this airport was served last year that went to Kingsport or Johnson City or Charleston or Lexington, the outlining airports. So giving them the ability, and again, if you break that down, it equates out to about between 9 to 13 flights a day, depending upon what size plane that you use. So all we're asking is for one of those flights a day to make it convenient. For the medical profession, the legal profession, the educational profession, the industries that we're trying to recruit, and then it gets to the private flyer. So it's a great opportunity to open ourselves up, and I keep stressing the point that it's not just about this multi-county money to go into another area. It's also about the opportunity of keeping our airport the commercial ready, because if we don't pursue this, and again the FAA is going to come in, they can reclassify the airport, they'll shorten the runway, and we'll never see commercial air service again. Not to mention that it will impact 50 existing planes that fly into the airport. So this is a very significant issue for the region. It's a very significant issue for the Pike County Airport. And I know, again, that the county supports commercial air service, but has been in the process of doing their due diligence. And I think that now we've had a lot of face-to-face meetings and discussions, very open discussions, that the county will support this. I'm very optimistic that the fiscal court as a whole, I know the judge does, but I think the fiscal court as a whole, and I mentioned on the last program, we had Leo Murphy and Hillman Dotson that came to the forum, and we greatly appreciate that. I mean, for them to come and participate and to do their due diligence speaks volumes of what they're doing to serve Pike County. So I know we were very appreciative for their comments, their support, and their understanding, and I think they understood where the community was coming from at that point. So I'm excited.
So again, that meeting, the resolution will be on Tuesday, August 7th, 10 o'clock in the morning.
10 o'clock. That is, and I'm glad you mentioned that. I apologize. I was meant to mention this, that is a special called meeting. That is actually their regular meeting day, but their meeting day was scheduled for that evening. There were some things that came up, and the county had to move their meeting time to 10 a.m., so it will be a special meeting. That is on the agenda. We have seen the resolution that they're proposing. It meets the guidelines that the Department of Local Government requires. So again, it's moving forward.
Excellent. Now, something else encouraging that happened this last week is the EPA ruling. I could not have been more pleased.
Oh, happy days.
Isn't it though? I mean,
really is.
You go through so much and you worry, and you see all of the hype and the problems surrounding it, and all the concerns surrounding it, with miners being laid off.
Yes.
Not knowing, if they're going to be in business tomorrow. This week things changed a little bit.
They did, and I'm going to try not. I'm very passionate, obviously, about this. The mayor, as we talked about him being a veterinarian, he's also a miner.
Yes.
He operates 2 coal mines, so he's very passionate about this. As is the commission. Obviously, this is our industry, and what I have here in front of me, Jill, is the actual ruling that came through the United States District Court that I proudly display. I mean, the city attorney emailed me this as soon as it came down, because it is what we have said all along, is that the EPA overstepped their boundaries in what they did in stopping these permits, creating this war on coal, especially against eastern Kentucky counties and West Virginia. This was absolutely ludicrous. But we had our day in court. The judge looked at the law. He agreed with what our point was. You know, and I'm proud. You know, and I was extremely, extremely proud of this commission, because what they do time and time again is they fight for the people of not just Pikeville, but for the region. Before that, the National Mining Association filed this suit against the EPA and Lisa Jackson. The City Commission had been talking to several legal experts asking if the city could file a suit. We didn't know that they were getting ready to do this. When we had spoke with Charles Baird, who obviously plays a major role in the coal industry, legal counsel. We had spoke to him, and the city attorney is in the Baird law practice. And what we elected to do instead of filing our own suit is that the city of Pikeville, the state of Kentucky, the city of Pikeville, and again the National Mining Association all joined the suit. And we were proud to do so, proud to represent the miners and the coal industry of eastern Kentucky. And we were vindicated this week with this ruling. Now, what does this mean? We'll see where we go forward, if there'll be an appeal or not. But I think it sends a loud message that the Obama administration, the EPA, cannot mess with these permits based on the action and the way that they took. That they've totally stepped outside of their realm in what they did, and the hope is now is that they will come. The EPA will now come to the table and to try to find a happy medium to where that we can work together to start this permit process up and put our miners back to work to protect our economy, to protect the energy industry. But this is a major win. We were excited about. This will be on the city's website if anybody wants to see it, and I'm sure a lot of folks have an interest in what's going on because this is our economy. So, again, really excited about the outcome of this.
I knew you would be. I knew that would be one thing we would talk about today. And
yes.
Like I said, when I heard it earlier this week, you know, you can't help but smile to think that we have been vindicated.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Well, and again, I've just said it, but I'll say it again. Is you know the commission has been a project or an issue that's been passionate not only to the commission but to every leader. You know, when we did the EPA hearings, every leader in eastern Kentucky showed up to voice their opinions, from the state all the way down. The governor has been very passionate about this issue and taking care of Kentucky. Our Senator McConnell and as as a leader on the Senate, Congressman Rogers on the House side has been very passionate about this issue. So I'm glad that this abuse of power was seen, and that it had its day in court, and that the ruling came down as we knew it would. So again, I appreciate the mayor, I appreciate the city commission for standing up for the people of eastern Kentucky in the way that they did, and spending a few dollars to represent our industry. So we're there.
Absolutely, absolutely. One of the things I want us to talk about also today, we have a new Artisan Center director.
Yes, we do.
We certainly do. That is going to take over. Of course, I'm part of the Artisan Center.
Yes.
And we have a lot of great events coming up that we'll speak about in just a minute. But I want to let you introduce the new Artisan Center director. Tell a little bit about her.
Leanne Hughes has just been hired. We went through a long interview process, interviewed several folks, and I think she is a perfect fit for what we're going to be doing. And actually, she'll be serving a dual role, Jill, as most people in the city do. She will be the clerk for the visitor center. Now, the question is, where's the visitor center? We don't have it yet. It's coming.
It's coming.
It's coming.
Just give us some time.
We have taken the commission has taken the train, and the train will be serving a dual role as well. And when I talk about the train, obviously it's the what's known as the old tourism train. The Pike County Tourism has moved out of the train into the Hampton Inn, which is a phenomenal location. They're extremely excited about that. They were happy to move there. We appreciate the Hampton Inn and Mr. Bailey for offering that space. We've got a great partnership with Pike County Tourism that we'll talk about here in a second. But now they're able to touch 127 visitors every day that comes through the Hampton Inn, along with the new Hilton Gardens that's being built. But the train is there now, and the question is what do we do with the train? The train is undergoing a facelift right now. We've hired a gentleman to come in to do a lot of restoration work on it. It's got a significant amount of rust on it. They've been sanding it and bondoing it and getting it ready to be painted. It'll soon be painted. It'll have a new facelift on the lettering very soon. And what will happen is it will then become the Pikeville Visitor / Artisan Center. The Artisan Center, as you know, Jill, is moving out of the old Doll Hairs building to the train. The reason it's moving is that obviously that's where Jenny Wiley Theater will be located with the new Pikeville Theater program. And what we wanted to do is that the Artisan Center, in the several years that I've been doing this, they've been relocated from one place to another. They've been looking for a permanent home. The places that they've been has been more rental property, and it wasn't a sure thing. But having the train as a permanent, since the city owns it and we're part of the program, that it'll be a permanent home for the Artisan Center, giving them an identity. Not that they've not had a good name and identity in the city, but the Pikeville Pike County Artisan Alliance will house 3/4 of the train. The front quarter of the train will be a desk and a place for people to come in to visit the Artisan Center, but will also be a visitor center for the city. And this is what Leanne's position will be. She will oversee the Artisan Center as the new director, and she will oversee the visitor center as the person that you will see when you come in. The train will be open Monday through Saturday when we're finished with it, because visitors here on weekends. And what the difference between the tourism office and the visitor center is a big difference. We will not. Her job will not be to promote the. I don't want to say promote. She will be promoting tourism, but she won't be specifically talking about tourism and pamphlets and what all the things to do. When somebody comes into the community and they want to visit the Artisan Center, she will then be able to direct them to where our hotels are, where our restaurants are, where the Tourism Commission office is. So depending upon what somebody may or may not want to do, it's a big focus point. It's right there in the center of the hub. It's got good visibility. So we're going to use that to our advantage and hope that we don't miss somebody, that if they come in and they don't see the tourism office in the Hampton Inn, if they do happen to see the visitor center, we'll be able to then to direct them one block down is the tourism office. So that's kind of the role that she'll play. Leanne she worked, prior to coming to the city, she worked for the Drillers. She was their marketing person. She's done numerous community events, both in Prestonsburg and Paintsville. She has a lot of connections, I should say, with a lot of she's worked with UK basketball and football programs. She's worked with U-Pike, but she's done, again, a lot of events, has a great outgoing personality. I think she'll be a phenomenal addition to our staff. And actually today should be her first day of employment with us.
So that will be August 2nd.
I couldn't remember what today is. Time flies.
It does fly. Well, we certainly do welcome her to our community, and I know that she's going to be really pleased in her new position.
Yes.
And I think the train is a great location for both of those I guess, visitors' places, because it will serve kind of like a concierge service. So she will be there and then spread everybody where they need to be. And then you can also take a look at what the Artisan Center has to offer while you're there, which leads me to my next point.
And I'm going to let you talk about this one, since it is your project.
Well, it's a group of people that are involved with the project. It's a very exciting time. We have talked before about what we're calling the Bear Fair. And if you've been to other cities, say Lexington, Cincinnati specifically, they have beautifully painted horses across the city of Lexington, beautifully painted pigs, if you will, in Cincinnati. And that's kind of what we're doing here. We, obviously the U-Pike Bears, very close, near and dear to our hearts. We have a huge population of black bears coming back into our area. So we're having bears that are going to be distributed all over the city of Pikeville and around Pike County. And the thing about it is we have asked artists to take these bears and paint them specifically so they will give a little bit of an indication that they're from this region. There are so many different bears that have been painted, and they're all unique, and the artists have just done a fabulous job. They've been working on it for a very long time. And when I say a bear, I don't mean a small bear. These are bears that are standing on their hind legs straight up, and they're painted that way. They're very tall. They're gigantic, really. And those bears are coming back to Pikeville. They will be revealed to the public on August 10th on the Expo Center Plaza. And I haven't seen all of the renderings, all the finished products, but there are so many bears that are just different. There's one with a UK theme, if you will. Then there's an astronaut bear that's very interesting. Then there's one that looks like a patchwork quilt. I mean, there's so many different things that these artists have really taken taken ownership in and painted these bears. So the bear event will be, the reveal, I should say, will be on August 10th. It will be on the Expo Center Plaza during another event that's going on, starting around 6 o'clock, so you can see them then. And then the following evening, there will be a beer and wine tasting, so you can actually be at the current Artisan Center,
Right.
and visit with the board and some people there. Those bears will still be there, I believe, or we're actually going to house them at the Expo Center, but you can see the pictures there. And then also, those bears are going to be auctioned off and placed at different businesses, so you have the chance to get your dibs on the bear that you want.
Well, this, Jill, this is absolutely, so exciting, because I go back and one person we do want to give credit to is Samantha Rogers.
Absolutely.
Samantha Rogers, who used to work for the city, she's gone on to greener pastures, as I tell her. Still very near and dear to my heart. But Samantha, this was her original concept. She came to the Artisan Board and the city and asked if we would partner with her. Same thing. When she came to me and said we want to paint these bears, I was thinking these little bears.
Small bears on all fours. I'm thinking like a small black bear type thing.
That's what I thought.
Could not be further from the truth.
Absolutely. They're larger than life, much larger than I am. But to see it evolve, because originally the original discussion was working maybe with just U-Pipe because of the U-Pipe theme, the bear theme, and having local students maybe doing the artwork, to expanding that to having professional artists throughout the region to do this project. I mean, you all have just done an absolutely phenomenal job, Jill, with this project, the whole Artisan Board, because like yourself, I've seen I got some sneak peeks, and not only that, what folks don't see is on the back side of our cameras some of the students that have worked with these artists and have done some of these stories, and we got to see some of the background, as you know, and some of the artists.
Right.
And I know that one of the lady that did the quilt, I'm looking across to make sure that I get this right. I think she's in her 70s or 80 year range, I think is what, am I right about that? I think so. I'm getting some nods back there.
Yeah.
There they are, okay. 70s or 80s range. So anyway, it is, to have somebody that's doing artwork at that age and to display this design, which is absolutely, quilt design was absolutely phenomenal. But I'm telling, and they're all really good.
They are.
I don't want to pick one because everybody will have their favorite, but probably the most unique one is when we talk about this astronaut bear.
That's probably, now, I have a hard time. I go back and forth between the quilt, the astronaut, and I did not get to see the finished UK bear. It was just the outline when I saw it.
Well, it's cool.
But the astronaut, I'm telling you what, and I can't remember the artist's name. I want to say he's from Georgetown. No, he's not from Georgetown. I can't remember where he's from. But it actually has a helmet.
Yes.
And he's going to have boots, and he has all of these different things. It's just very interesting.
Well, it never ceases to amaze me, and that's why art is so important, is that because it's their interpretation of a product, and I can't, I just don't have a lot of artistic ability.
Nor do I.
When I step back and look at, stick people is the best you can get from me. But to stand back and see what they see and then how they can depict it with something on a bear, it just floors me. Because, again, the UK bear and seeing the national championship title winners painted, it's really unique. So we're giving little teasers right now because we want people to come out and support this.
Right.
Who would have thought again? And that's why I keep smiling. Who would have thought again in little old Pikeville, Kentucky, as I say.
Yeah.
But it is. We have evolved. We have evolved in so many different ways. We've got so many different ideals and so many people out there pitching ideals that this was a great project that people are going to see these bears stuck out and around the city, and they're going to say, "Oh my gosh! I mean, this is art. This is amazing." On top of all the great things, the quilt shows and the music and having great people coming in and doing these wine tasting type events around this is just again another venue to cater to another segment of our community that loves this type of these events. So I'm really excited, and I think people are really going to be excited when they see the finished product.
Well, I think the great thing about it is that they're all going to be different conversation pieces. There are so many different depictions that everybody's going to have a different thing to say here, especially the astronaut bear. Actually, Versailles is where the artist is from. So,
Yes, I
but
remember.
they will all be here. That will be, don't forget, that'll be on August 10th at the Expo Center. Billy Johnson Stage is where they're going to be revealed around 6 o'clock. And then the following evening will be the beer and wine tasting.
Well, I am absolutely, and I'll apologize to all my friends that are on this board and committee. I'm going to be on vacation and out of town, so I'm going to miss the big reveal, which I'm very saddened by that. But I know the event will be a huge success.
It will be.
And I know that once the community sees these, that they'll embrace them as their own and know that that we have great talent in the hills of Kentucky.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of talent in the hills of Kentucky and different things that we have going on, it's one topic that we discuss at length every time we do a show. Especially seems like for the past couple of months, it's been our main topic. But we do want to give an update to everyone on the Hatfield-McCoy trails, the system, the tourism, everything that's going on, because it continues to evolve.
It does, and I think it's important for our community to know for a couple of reasons. You know, I gave a plea at the last show, Jill, and I'll do it again this show, that if you're from the area, you may think you know the full story of the Hatfield-McCoy. Take this tour,
Absolutely.
and I guarantee you're going to learn something from it. It's a great. They do. You know, Jesse Bowling and Sean Cochran and Reed Potter are tour guides, and you know, Reed comes in as a historian and does a tour every now and then with us. Now he was doing the first tours. He's just an absolute amazing. Has a lot of knowledge, a world of knowledge. Tony and Jay and Lynn over at the Pike County Tourism Office. You know, they're great people. They're very hospitable. Make people that are coming from outside the area feel at welcome. And my understanding is, and I might be wrong by now, because I think last count we had 48 states now represented that are signing the logbook that have come from to visit this trail or this tour system. So we've got, if you get on the websites again, which is tourpikecounty.com or visit pikeville.com, or if you'll get on the city's website, our Facebook page, again, tour or Pikeville Tourism web page, you'll see some of the pictures from these tours. We got a great bus, very comfortable bus with great sound system, and take you to all these sites and tell you. You know, one of the things I think I mentioned at the last taping was that there has been additional information that has come forward that Reed has been talking with. There's a gentleman at the Baird Law Office has done some legal research and has found many of the court cases. So instead of speculation or things being handed down from family member to family member, and that's the story, they've actually got transcripts of what took place. So again, a lot of this information is now being shared as part of the tour program. And then if you want a great Saturday, and again, my wife and I did it, and Jill, I'm telling you, if you don't have a good time, come and tell me, because I will be very disappointed. But you know, my wife and I got up early on a Saturday morning. We came and we did the riding tour, and then we bought the CD and we did the driving tour after that. So we ventured over into the Hardy area now, obviously with the Bad Frank's gravesite being revealed. You know, Hillman Dotson and the county did the reveal over there. They've done a great job of fixing that site up. So we have now several more sites that are being added. But I can't. You know, don't let the outsiders have all the fun is what I'm trying to say, because there's a lot of history, a lot of unique things that you probably didn't know. You know, I'll be candid, and I'm sorry to say this, but, you know, I did not know the history of the Methodist Church. And, you know, that's a great reveal. I knew the Methodist Church was old. I knew it was a beautiful building on Huffman, but, you know, if you look at the date on the side of it, you'll see that it's the Methodist South. And there was a falling away during this era because of, again, the Civil War and slavery, and the Methodist Church split. There was a Methodist North, a Methodist South Church, and in the 1920s they came back together as United Methodist. So there's a story. A lot of those stories are part of our history of Pikeville, from everything from, and I know I'm repeating myself from before, but from Garfield and from the Civil Wars that raged, and both Pikeville changing back and forth, being occupied by the North and South, and 5 different major battles that took place, to some real unique site locations, to the integrated cemetery, Deal Cemetery, to some of the people that are buried up there that folks, you know, probably aren't aware of. So there is a lot of history. I just found out, a good friend of mine came to me this past week, and it has nothing to do with the tour, but I'll throw this out there too. Daryl Maynard, a good friend of mine who's involved in a lot of different things, but came into me and told me the other day talking about tourism, And come to find out that Elvis Presley's great-great-great-great-grandfather is from Pikeville, or from Pike County, Kentucky.
Really?
Yes. And actually the lineage, or they followed the tree, actually goes back to Dr. Don. So I thought it was a great story, and he went through the genealogy. But so we're finding out little things, little snippets here and there about our great region that there is a lot of history.
Isn't that great, though?
It's a lot of fun.
What I think is so interesting to point out, I think we've talked about this before, is that we have all of this here. We've had the Hatfield-McCoy feud information for a long time, but the resurgence of it has made us more aware, I believe, of the things that we do have here. And I think because we live here and live around the area, we just don't take advantage of them. I think we do that with a lot of things in the Eastern Kentucky area. Because we're here, it's so easy to get to. We think, well, we'll get to it some other time. It's not in the forefront of our thought until now. And I think it's really nice to see families, especially, you know, when you walk through town or drive through town on a Saturday and you see all of these people getting on the bus to take the tours, and you see all of these different license plates that are coming in. Different counties, one thing, but also different states.
All over.
They're everywhere, and they're all coming here for one thing, things that we just really don't think about very often.
Well, you know, this past weekend the river was up, so we could not do the kayaking. So instead, when we don't do the kayaking, we double up on our tours. We did 6 tours this weekend: Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 2 Friday, 2 Saturday, and 2 Sunday. We normally do one of each, but there's such a demand from people outside the area that you know, we're able to fill our tours up each week. But you know, one thing that, and I agree with that, Jill, one of the things you just mentioned is that sometimes we take our history for granted, or we don't remember it until something like this happens. And that's the neat thing about technology these days. We're now able, you know, Pike TV is doing several projects right now of recording some of this history. So it's not just about what's written in a book or forgotten about. There's videos of people, you know, who's, you know, we've got grandkids of some of the original feudists that are here that we're trying to talk to. So hearing some of these stories first, kind of having them on audio, and then another major thing that has taken off, and I know it, but I don't know it well, and I'm getting ready to get myself educated on this. And I know you asked me what it was before we went on.
Because I'm clearly not educated on it.
And I was in the same way, but it's this GPS tracking. There is, I didn't realize, but Kelly Moore, who I've known for a long time, great guy, contacted us this week, and he does this, and they created this website for Hatfield-McCoy for these geo tracking. And basically what that is this group that you have these GPS units, and you get coordinates, and you go to different sites, and you collect these tokens, and it's a major, you know, they have parties and major events. Well, over the last couple of weeks, there's been, I think, 60-some people that has come from outside the area to Pikeville to stay in our hotels that have been doing this tracking. So this thing has caught on. They're getting ready to have this major event. So we're going to be working with them on that as well. So I go back to, you know, it's a fun way, which, and ironically, I've been working with the county tourism office to find out the GPS location to all the different sites, because though the driving tour has a map, a lot of people now use their GPS unit, and they put it in, you program the coordinates in, and it's a lot safer to get you, because, and I say this because I lived over at Forest Hills for about 6-7 years. But if you're from California coming to Pike County trying to find Hardy, it's going to be a challenge for you.
It's a little difficult.
It's a little difficult for you. So we want to make it convenient and easy and let them see, you know, our great country and our great countryside. So we were doing some of the GPSing as well, but not to this level. This is more of a sport than it is what we're talking about. But again, some major announcements that and things continue to evolve. One other thing that I'll mention is if you go on the city's website, we just came out with this week, and I tried to print this off. It didn't print off the way that it should, but you'll see a little packet like this. But we have created package deals now, and I know it's not a good shot, and I should have brought a PowerPoint on it, but all this information is on the city's website and the counties. It'll be on the counties too. But we've created these package deals, and again, for people more outside the area, but if you've got family, friends, and that's what's happening. Just one example is for 2 people for one night at the Hampton Inn, complimentary breakfast tour of the Hatfield-McCoy sites, and a dinner at Cherico's Restaurant, which again is around the Hatfield-McCoy theme downtown. And there's some other venues here, other businesses we're using as well. But we've got that total package for 2 people one night to do all that is for $149. That would cost, if you went online and booked everything right now, it would be $198. So again, there's a $50 savings there with this package deal that we're trying to create. And what we're doing is we're marketing this to different businesses throughout the state of Kentucky, trying to get those staycations and get that weekend traffic here in the city. So, and like I said, you can do all the way up to 3 family of 4 for 2 nights, which again, you do the breakfast, the tour sites, you do the river trail system, all for $359. Again, that was a $475
for 2 nights.
For 2 nights.
And you can find all of that information on the website.
On the again, tour Pike County or visit cityofpikeville.com.
Now, I did hear some news that KET was in the area recently.
Yes, they were.
And that's going to be in September coming up, I believe, what they were here for.
They came in and they have a, and I apologize, I cannot remember the lady's name that did the taping. She did a great job. But they came in and did a travel segment that they're now doing on KET, showing different parts of Kentucky of all these neat things to do. And they highlighted our region, Pikeville, Pike County. They highlighted many different facets, everything from the Hatfield and McCoy sites. They took the driving tour. Sean Cochran took the young lady up to our firing range and put some 6-shooters on the side of her, and she shot back in that era.
Wow.
So a lot of neat things. So our area is going to get a full hour-long presentation of all the wonderful things to do in Pikeville and Pike County. So we're real excited about it.
I do know that they went to Jerry's Restaurant.
They
It's
did.
the oldest restaurant
Yes.
in our area, and I thought, how fun is that? Jerry's has been such a staple of our community for so long.
It is.
And I thought it was nice for them to go there and highlight that place as well.
And that's what the intent of the show was to show, the staycation things, what to do when you show up in different communities and what that they have. I did probably a 5-minute interview with her, and some of the questions and how she was really intrigued. Her and her camera folks were really intrigued for the region. I mean, they were really excited and had a great time. So we're really anxious to wait to see that airing.
I am too. That'll be airing in September. Now, we have on our list a Food City partnership. This is something new for us.
Yes, it is. And I'm going to bend down here, so bear with me. This is a small scale, and hopefully this may not be changed a little bit. Whoops.
I think I saw a bigger scale of that.
You will. You have and will.
I think I saw it the other day. It's what I would call ginormous.
This will, as everybody has seen, Food City has been going under some renovations. As you leave their store, a lot of stores, and I grew up in the retail business, they have that gigantic wall as you're checking out that's blank and empty. We have a partnership with Food City that they are actually selling kayaks now. Walmart's selling them, and Food City will be selling kayaks for trails. But this is our Hatfield and McCoy, both our driving trail and river trail system, advertising it. It is actually the full scale of this is 6 foot tall and 40 foot long. And it will be, as you walk out the door, it'll be over top of their door.
You won't be able to miss it. Jesse Bowling was telling me about this the other day, and he said, I can't tell you how big it is, Jill, and he gave me the dimensions, and I said, really, that's going to be up on the wall? I mean, that's huge.
It is huge, and they're working with us. They got several other walls in the store that we're going to be putting some other projects on. But again, it's a great way. As you sit here and you listen to us talk about tourism and about all these initiatives, it's not about me; it's about we. So we're bringing in. We've got Muscle on Main coming up on August the 10th and 11th. But on the 10th we do a block party instead of different business throughout the area. So we're bringing in our local businesses, and that's what tourism is to do: is to benefit our local areas. So the Hatfield and McCoy trail system, the river trails, the driving trails, the RV park, the horse trails, the Muscle on Main, the theater project. I mean, I can go on and on and on.
There's so much.
There is so much that's bringing people in. And again, you've heard me say it once, I'm going to say it again. I greatly appreciate this city commission for allowing me to do all these projects. They've had great vision, and allowing me to do this. Business breeds business, and that's what we're seeing. Speaking of business.
You knew exactly what I was going to say next.
I saw your eyes light up.
This is one thing I probe you about every time that we're here. And the thing is that when I'm out too, and people have seen the show, they say, what do you know? What do you really know about this retail development situation? And I said, I know just what you see, because he will not tell me another thing other than what he shares here.
Well, I apologize. I know that this is, again, number one discussed topic out there other than commercial air service. Is this retail division. But before I touch on that, we talk about new businesses. 2 other things I failed to mention that I want to throw out real quick is, one is that the Artist Collaborative Theater is also, we were talking about the Hatfield and McCoy. If you've read the local newspaper, they're pursuing a play of the Hatfield and McCoy. And I applaud them. I applaud Stephanie. They do great work up there. I'm so excited that they're taking on this initiative, and it's going to be another feather
Yeah.
in Elkhorn City's cap and Pike County's cap.
Well, I was so glad that you told me that before we started taping today, because that was one of the things that came up at our Hatfield-McCoy Town Hall Forum that we had,
Yes.
is that somebody mentioned, wouldn't it be great if one of our theater systems, Jenny Wiley Artist Collaborative Theater, got together and did a play, did something involving Hatfield-McCoy, and now they've done that. They've taken the initiative and do one step forward to do it.
And I greatly applaud Stephanie and her team there. They've got several things going on right now. If you haven't been, we urge you to go, because it's a jewel of our community and it's a great production. And the other thing I'll mention that's going on in Elkhorn, because again, this is our whole region is growing on August 3rd. At 6 o'clock, they've got their car cruising going on.
Yeah.
So we're expanding as well. So again, just excited. So much is going on in so many different areas within our not just the city, but our partnerships within the region.
Yeah.
Now we can talk about the retail.
Let's talk about some shopping. You want to?
Well, I am excited, and I brought a lot of papers here today.
You did. You brought like a whole notebook.
And it's so I don't forget stuff. Unfortunately, if it's not, as I told,
I never know what you're going to pull out of your stack there.
Well, and as my staff knows, if it's not written down, it doesn't happen. Because I forget about a lot of this stuff.
I resorted to Post-it notes.
Thank God for the iPhones. All I can say. What I have here in front of me, Jill, is an agreement. It says a real estate development agreement between the United States Post Office and the City of Pikeville. After a long year's worth of work, I finally have an agreement. Now, it's not signed yet, but we do have the agreement. We have gone through it. We are taping on Thursday, as you mentioned, the 2nd. I have a conference call tomorrow, the final conference call with the developer. We have verbally agreed on signing off on most of the terms. So what I'm hoping is by next week that we'll actually have ink on this piece of paper. All the terms have been accepted, all the terms by all parties. We lack one more call, and we're ready to move forward. So again, a lot of development going on in and around the area. And I can't again mention the store names, but people are going to be excited when this is finally able to be released. But I don't want folks to feel like that things are sitting back. We're having to get through some of the red tape, but things are moving forward. 600 new jobs are on their way. The developer is extremely excited. We've just got to get through the post office's due diligence, but I finally have an agreement that we can do so.
We are one step closer. Now, we do want to update everybody on the Hilton Garden Inn that's coming next to the Hampton Inn downtown. Work continues daily on that. It will be up before we know it.
Well, it will, and that's just as you drive by, you'll see the footers are going in. It's moving forward. That's going to give us 250 rooms downtown that we can promote conferences at. We got some, again, I look back over the last several years, the commission's worked hard on several land deals, several deals at producing infrastructure that's needed, the water, the sewer lines, to be able to for all this new business growth that we've had. And as you look at the Hilton Gardens, that's just one more feather in our community's cap for tourism, for conferences, for businesses. That's going to be a great commodity. So, there's as I said, when I talk about growth, Jill, if you look at the Hilton Gardens, you've got Food City doing their remodel right now. We just mentioned expanding their services. You've got the medical school that'll be finished, and people need to watch the paper, because they'll be having their ceremony sometime next month in September. You've got the Judicial Center that's supposed to be completed around March or April of next year. You've got the hospital that's under construction. We talked about the Scholar House. We've got the Hensley Development Project. He's doing 2 downtown projects for new housing downtown. McDonald's, again, folks wondered where it went, but it's
here today, gone the next,
tomorrow,
right?
literally. But they're pursuing their new building. They're just building bigger and better. We're real excited about that, and just a testimony of the demand in the area. But it's not just about what we're doing today. It's about what's going on tomorrow as well. And rest assured, again, the commission is really pushing me. They're working hard. They're working me hard, Jill, at all this new development that's coming on, because between the retail development, the Scholar House, the Jenny Wiley Theater, there's new development going in, or new store going in by Staples. Again, can't tell you the name because I don't know it, but I do know that they're pursuing the permitting process. City sewer plant, the horse trails, new convenience store getting ready. We're working with a deal with them. Hopefully commercial air service. So, and we're talking to people every day about new opportunities. There's a couple of national brand names that we're talking to. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. Things are happening.
Things are happening. It's an exciting time, exciting to be a resident of Pikeville and Pike County. Many different things going on, and it's just going to get better from here.
I assure you that it will. The commission is focused. We are getting ready to start our updated comprehensive plan. We were 92% complete on the previous plan, which all this growth that you see was part of that plan, part of the commission's vision. And as I keep saying, you ain't seen nothing yet. This commission is really thinking 10 years down the road. So I'm proud to be part of that.
Certainly are. Donovan, we are out of time for today.
One more time.
One more time. Can't wait to see what new things we have on our list of topics for our next taping. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been the City Manager's Report. We will see you next time.